All right, Shalawam Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, Kakwadash, double one to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalawam to Lek out there doing this work of faith and live with love and true sincerity. Right, and I want to get into a lesson based upon what you see here on the screen on the Breakfast Club. Bernie Sanders talks reparations, president reform, and his black agenda. And I also checked out Apostle Hart's video about reparations. I'm not sure if you seen this too, or just a common talk amongst different political forums, arenas, or shows, or whatever the case may be. But whenever it comes to this, we got to know that these Edomites, they're just using this for talking points, and that's something that Charlemagne mentioned, that to him was that, do you think that these politicians really mean it, or is it just talking points? And everything that you notice about this guy here, Bernie Sanders, within this interview, man, you just recognize that it's complete bullshit, man. And I mentioned from time to time Dr. Claude Anderson. He calls them out on their bullshit, and I notice everything in which Dr. Claude Anderson mentioned that these devils do when they speak on certain topics, man. And you could tell that he was just lying and full of bullshit, right? Because that's the nature of Esau, right? I just want to start off real quick with Psalms 55 and 20. He have put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He have broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And that's exactly what Esau does. Their words are smoother than butter. And every time, these devils speak on something pertaining to a so-called black agenda, Jake fall for it, man. Every single time, Jake fall for it. Salaki. Every single time, Jake fall for it, man. Now, a few of the questions in which Charlemagne asked him was like, what specifically are you going to do for the black agenda or for black people? And all he did was keep beating around the bush. One thing and especially you'll know when Edom is on some BS, is whenever you say something specifically, or like, what are you going to do for blacks, or whatever the case may be, they may touch on it, but then they're going to mean, then eventually they go to all people. Well, what I'm going to do is not only going to help blacks, but all people, or all people in distress situations, or all people going through disparities and stuff like this. They make it very general. They make it very broad, very ambiguous. So to make you think that what they're talking about is actually for so-called blacks, man. That's mainly you so-called African Americans, okay? And you can recognize the bullshit that's all in them, because every single time, for every point that Charlemagne asked him about the so-called black agenda, he danced around it by mentioning it's going to be for all people. It's going to be for all people, And this is what these devils do, man. But yet people still go by every single election time and voting for people that are not for them. This society, this system was never built for us, man. It was meant for us to build it and us to continuously be the slaves of this society, man. Babylon the Great, the land of confusion. Okay. Real quick, I want to go to no, that's wrong. Looks like I meant Deuteronomy 17:15. Deuteronomy 17:15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy power shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So this is, a form of what? Voting. You wanting to set a specific person king over you that's not amongst your brethren, that's voting. The scriptures are against voting, man. And why would you vote anyway for any of these pale-faced devils that do nothing for you, when this country continuously shows that they're at war against Jake, man. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Nothing is being done for you within your neighborhoods and stuff like that. Everything is of the lowest standard. Everything, man. Everything. But they'll try to inflate numbers or use numbers in a certain way, very ambiguously, to play with the figures and to play with the data to make you think that your neighborhoods are up on a rise, or it's up and coming, or you're getting better this, or you're getting better that. When it's all bullshit, man. Never trust these devils, man. As the scripture says in Sirach, man. You know, never trust these damn devils. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Slocking. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with the serpent, or any such as come now wild beast? So that's how it is, man. So if you notice, every time that Jake go out here and votes, you know, for these presidential elections or whatever the case may be, they'll promise you the world. Then what do they actually do to come through? Nothing, man. What has changed throughout the ghettos of America where the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans reside at since we've been here, man? What has changed? What has changed? Nothing. Things are only gotten worse. And now you have what? Gentrification. Now they're moving into our cities and try to push us out further, man, so that we can't afford to live in common places, man. They sectioning us off, man. The downtown areas of the major Jake cities where it's heavy commerce, like over here we have Newark. You know, now they built the Devil Stadium. They got all type of attractions around, a hotel and new restaurants all downtown now, man. They got newly furnished apartments, you know what I'm saying, mini condos all downtown on top of office buildings and different things like that. All for who? It's not for Jake. And those things are overpriced. So who are they really for? They're not for us. They're for these Edomites, man. You got to be a fool to trust anything in which they say or do, man. That's why people is lost out here, man. Instead of listening to the real men of the Lord who are actually for them and not against them, they rather believe the white devil who's constantly oppressed them for 400 years, man. You know? Real quick, I'm going to go to Lamentations 4:17. It says, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. So you think they really going to save you with reparations, prison reform, a so-called black agenda? All other nations, and if I could find a clip, because I watched so many videos on him, but if I could find a clip, I'll post it up. Dr. Claude Anderson, he mentioned how all other nationalities received a form of reparations, you know, except for us. And they get it by the constant assistance. That's why you see when Edomite foreigners come over here, they can sit their ass in their house all day and they collect checks. What? That's a form of reparations. They getting paid just for coming over here, man. And they're constantly put above Jake in everything in which they do. And they can build up their communities and thrive in their communities, man. But what do we get? We don't get nothing. And you Jakes ain't gonna get nothing. So stop crying about the shit, man. If it took them for this long, right? If it took them for this long just to really get around to trying to talk about this in a heavier manner. It's been constant talks about it. But if you haven't got it yet, what makes you think you're going to get it? When these other nationalities, they get things instantly without even having to ask, man. You know? But what do we get? Nothing, man. Nothing. All right, this is Psalms 35 and what I want to start at, Salaki. Yeah, Psalms 35 and 7. And it says, "For without cause they have hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul." So they setting us up in situations that they know that there is no way to get out of. That's why the scriptures say the wicked have waited for me to destroy me in Psalms 119 and 95. Because they purposely set us up in situations that is damn near impossible for us as a people to get out of. And the Lord allowed them to do this because we're not meant to get out of these traps, man. You know, we were brought here for our punishment, man. Simple as that. Is Baruch 4 and 6. You were sold to the nations not for your destruction, but because you moved Yahweh to wrath. You were delivered unto the enemies. For ye provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to Yahweh. Ye have forgotten the everlasting power that brought you up, and ye have grieved Jerusalem that nursed you. For when she saw the wrath of Yahweh coming upon you, she said, Hearken, O ye that dwell about Zion, the Most High have brought upon me great mourning, for I saw the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting brought upon them. Okay? With joy did I nourish them, but sent them away with weeping and mourning. So what is our people doing now? Weeping and mourning. About what? About reparations. About making things better for us. You know? About better wages, fair treatment, all this whole other stuff that doesn't matter. They will never treat you equal, man. They will always feel as though that they're the superior because at the top elites of the society, they know what the real deal is going back to Jacob and Esau. They know who they are and they know who we are, man. So you jakes out here crying and sighing unto the oppressor, you know, for reparations or whatever else, you're not going to get a damn thing, man. It's foolish to believe that you will ever get anything out of these devils, man. You know? So with that, you know, I just hope the short segment was edifying. And I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashim YAHAWASHI, Ba'ashim Kakwadash, double one, this is the apostles and the elders, great millstone, and Shalawam to Lekabdib, doing his work of faith and labor of love and true sincerity. Shalawam.